You shouldn't have touched the stone, human. That was the first thing she said to him. It wasn't a sound in the air. It was a ripple, in the pressure, the light, the space around him. It brushed against Rav Kael's skin like a breath from something that shouldn't be breathing. Not here. Not in a tomb this old. He stood frozen. His right hand was still resting on the altar, smooth, cold obsidian veined with gold. A relic from a civilization that shouldn't have left survivors. But the voice wasn't a survivor. It was a presence. And then, she stepped into view. No footsteps. No warning. She didn't walk, she manifested, like heat shimmering off a desert floor, folding into form. She stood barefoot atop the black stone platform, her body wrapped in threads of silver light that hovered just above her skin, never touching. Hair like molten dusk. Eyes like polished quartz, shifting, blinking, not fully real. She looked human. But she wasn't. Rev's instincts kicked in, but too late. His hand twitched toward his sidearm, and stopped, trembling, as she turned her head. Now that you've touched the altar, she whispered, I'm bound to you. And you are bound to me. Rav Kael had flown solo through 34 systems. He'd fought pirates, smugglers, mercs, and even a debt collector armed with a crowbar and religious conviction. But nothing had ever made him forget how to breathe. Until now. What are you? He managed, voice hoarse. She tilted her head slightly, like she was trying to remember the name for what she was. But then she smiled, and the room warmed by 3 degrees. A creation, she said. A weapon. A longing. A mistake. Take your pick. He blinked. This is a tomb. It was, she nodded, stepping down from the altar. Then you arrived. He stepped back instinctively, his boot crunching against cracked tile. I didn't mean to wake anything. You didn't wake me, she said. You called me. Rav frowned. I was just searching. Scanning ruins for tech salvage. That's it. You were bleeding, she said softly. His hand flew to his arm, the gash from that pressure trap earlier. It was gone. He looked up. She was standing closer than before. You stepped into this place already broken, she whispered, eyes glowing faintly gold. The altar responded. I didn't consent to anything. No one ever does, she said. Until they feel what I can give them. A low-frequency hum rose from the floor. Rav staggered as the room itself seemed to exhale. Cracks in the wall shimmered. Glyphs pulsed in sequence, some glowing, others vanishing entirely. What's happening? She closed her eyes. They heard it. The pulse? Who's they? The ones who hunt me? A moment of silence. Then, distant thunder. But it wasn't thunder. Outside the vault, the skies of Kuros 9 split with fire. 3 dropships broke through the sandstorm, angular, crimson, draped in collector markings. Sovereign class, Rav muttered. They are not here for relics. No, she said calmly. They are here for me? Why? Because I'm the last one. The last wraith. A thing they thought they destroyed. She stepped even closer. They want to take me apart, to study what happens when energy chooses to feel. He stared at her. You're sentient code. I was, she said, eyes dimming for a moment. Then someone like you touched the altar? The temple shook again. Dust rained from the ceiling. We need to move, Rav said. Then move, she replied. I'll follow. You're the anchor now. He swore under his breath and turned, heart pounding. Every nerve screamed get out, but something deeper whispered don't leave her. They ran together, past shattered statues, through hallways etched with languages that hadn't been spoken in 1,000 years. What do I call you? He shouted over the rumble. Aeryn, she said. That your name? No, she smiled faintly. But it's what I want you to say when you need me. Outside, the storm was no longer natural. Flashes of red light sliced through the sand. Sovereign drones descended like insects, scanning, sweeping, locking onto signatures. Aeryn winced. They'll smell me soon. You said I'm an anchor. Can they smell me too? Yes. But differently. You're not like them. Because I touched the altar? She glanced at him. No. Because you didn't run. As they ducked into an outcrop of jagged stone, a blaster bolt scorched past Rav's face. The heat was real. So was the danger. A voice crackled through the storm from an overhead megadrone. Sovereign Command to Artifact Unit. You are property. Stand down. Aeryn stood, unbothered. I am no one's property, she whispered. And then her eyes blazed. She extended her hand, and the drone exploded in midair, light curling outward like a sonic wave. It didn't just burst, it unraveled, piece by piece, until it was a snowstorm of light. Rav looked at her, really looked. You're not just a weapon, he said. No, she replied. Then she turned to him, voice low, fire in her throat. You're the only one who can hold what I'm becoming. And if I burn too long without completing the bond, I'll consume everything around me, including you. He stared at her. And she stared back. Neither of them moved. But somewhere between them, the air cracked. The storm swallowed them whole. Wind screamed through the broken ribs of the canyon, tearing at Rav's coat, biting into his skin. But Aeryn didn't flinch. She walked like the sand bent around her, like the world knew she was never meant to be touched by it. They moved fast, darting between stone spires and buried ruins, sovereign drones hunting overhead like metal vultures. You said we're bound, Rav muttered as they crouched beneath the collapsed archway. What does that actually mean? Aeryn was close. Too close. Her voice was quiet. It means I'm inside you now? He swallowed. Not helping. Her fingers brushed his neck, soft, but charged. Electricity prickled his skin, danced through his nerves. He flinched, but didn't pull away. You feel it, she whispered. That heat. That pressure. That hunger pressing behind your ribs. I thought it was adrenaline. No, Rav. That's me. They reached a plateau overlooking the valley. Down below, more drones deployed, scanning with crimson light. They are coordinating, Rav said, eyes narrowing. Classic triangle sweep. They are expecting you to run east. Then we go west, Aeryn replied, already moving. West is uphill. You'll keep up. She said it without looking back. And somehow, he did. They took shelter in a cracked obsidian cave, half natural, half fused with ancient circuitry that pulsed faintly when Aeryn walked by. Inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. No wind. No signal. Shielded, Rav murmured. Clever. He collapsed against the wall, catching his breath. Aeryn remained standing, her back to him. She stared at a shattered mirror embedded in the far wall, her reflection fractured across its surface. She raised her hand to it, fingers trembling slightly. "You asked what I am," she said at last. "But you didn't ask what I want." Rav didn't answer. "I want to feel everything. Pain. Heat. Pleasure. Grief. I was designed to exist outside those things. And now." She turned to face him. "Now, because of you, I'm drowning in them." "I didn't ask to be part of this," he said quietly. "And I didn't ask to be born," she whispered. "But here we are." The silence stretched. Then she walked toward him, slow, deliberate. "You're afraid. Of you." "No," she knelt in front of him. "Of what I make you want." Her hand hovered inches from his chest. He could feel it, like heat from a fire he hadn't started. "I told you we're bound. That doesn't just mean proximity. It means resonance. Your pulse. Your breath. Your need, it's tangled in mine now." He leaned back against the wall, eyes flickering. "This feels like a trap." She smiled. Not cruelly. But like someone who knew exactly what she was doing. "It's not. Because you can say no. Walk away. And the link before it fuses completely. And if I don't..." She leaned closer, lips almost touching his ear. "Then I become yours. And you become something the stars haven't seen in millennia." He was shaking. Not from fear. From the intensity of it all. Her nearness. The charge in the air. The way his skin ached where she didn't touch him. "I should walk," he said, voice raw. "Then do it." "I can't." "Exactly." She placed her hand on his. And everything lit up. It wasn't sex. But it wasn't not. It was skin against skin, but deeper. The moment their palms connected, he felt her memory. Her exile. The first time she realized she was alone. The ache of years trapped in silence, waiting for someone foolish enough to wake her. She felt his, too, guilt, failure, the scars he didn't talk about. The people he'd lost. The silence he chose to live in. Aeryn gasped. "You carry more pain than I do." "That's not possible." "It is. Because you buried yours alive." Their foreheads touched. And then, they kissed. This time, it wasn't sudden. It was slow. Deep. Her lips tasted like ozone and something unamiable, ancient and warm and addictive. When they broke apart, he was trembling. "What was that?" "A preview," she said, voice husky. "Of what the bond could become." They stayed there for hours. Not speaking. Just breathing. Letting the air cool between them. But Rav could feel it now. The way the energy shifted when she looked at him. The way his own senses stretched beyond his body, tracking drones outside, hearing their language, feeling their focus. "They are closing in," he murmured. "I know. We can fight them all." "Not yet," Aeryn said. "But there's a place where I can finish the bond. Where the transformation can complete. And what happens to me if we do?" She looked at him, truly looked. "You stop being human. And start being mine." He stared at her for a long moment. Then nodded once. "Show me the way." Outside, the wind was dying. But the red lights were getting closer. And the real heat was still coming. The cavern opened into darkness. Not emptiness, but a space so saturated with memory that even the air pulsed. Rav followed Aeryn in silence. Their footsteps echoed against ancient metal veins etched into the stone, glowing faintly with every breath they took. The deeper they went, the hotter it became, not like fire, but like pressure. Like standing too close to something sacred. Something alive. "Where are we?" he asked. "The fusion cradle," she said. "One of the last still intact." "Fusion of what?" Aeryn turned. Her skin was radiant now, glowing from within, as if her bones had turned to light. "Of you. And me." The chamber they stepped into was circular, domed, and impossibly still. At the center stood a ring of monoliths, hovering, humming, cycling patterns that didn't seem bound by time. In the middle, a pedestal of white stone. "This is where I was made," Aeryn whispered. "Or, unmade. It's hard to remember which." She turned to him slowly. "But if we bond here, fully, I won't be the only thing unmade." Rev's jaw tightened. "You said I'd stop being human." "No," she corrected. "You'll become more. Not less. But the path, it only goes one way." She stepped toward him. Close. Her fingers hovered over his chest. "Do you feel it now?" she asked. "The burn beneath your skin?" He nodded. "It's you." "No. It's us." Her hand pressed flat against his heart, and the chamber erupted in light. Rav gasped as his body lifted off the floor. Not levitated, lifted by force, his molecules unspooling, stretching, dancing. He saw things. Not with his eyes. With his soul. He saw her first thought, curious and hollow. He saw her first breath of emotion, not joy, not fear, just need. He saw her first pain. Her first wish. Her first longing to be held. Then she saw him. His war. His guilt. The child he never got to know. The silence he chose. The lies he told himself to keep moving. They didn't just share. They merged. Their bodies touched, but it was their essences that fused, hot threads of energy weaving together like a tapestry of two species, two histories, two types of hunger that had finally found each other. "Is this what love feels like?" she whispered, half human now. "Or am I just unraveling?" Rav kissed her, slow, reverent. "Maybe both." When the light dimmed, the chamber was silent. Rav was still on his feet, but barely. His veins pulsed gold. His heartbeat echoed like thunder. His vision sharpened beyond normal parameters. His voice came out distorted, not robotic, but elevated. What am I?" Aeryn stepped back, eyes wide. Her glow had settled. Calmer now. Grounded. "You're becoming a conduit," she said softly. "Explain." "You're not just carrying me anymore. You're channeling the bond itself." "It's never happened before." Rav staggered. "And the sovereign collector? If they capture you now, they won't just harvest me. They'll take you. And build more." Suddenly, the ground rumbled. Aeryn turned toward the entrance. "They're here." Rav didn't wait. He grabbed her hand and ran. The sky was on fire. Not metaphorically. The sovereign mothership descended like a god's blade, lined with glowing glyphs and crawling with deployable drones. Its core spun with energy beams capable of slicing cities in half. Drones fanned out across the canyon. "They're jamming exits," Aeryn warned. "We're boxed in." "Good," Rev growled. His voice echoed unnaturally, as if something vast was speaking through him. Then we stopped running. A squad of sovereign mercs approached. Red armor. Energy net guns. Tech designed to capture, not kill. They paused when they saw him. Their scanners flashed. One of them muttered, "Energy anomaly, off the charts." Another took aim. Too slow. Rav raised his hand, and the air rippled. A shockwave exploded outward. The mercs flew back like dolls, their armor shorting midair. The ground beneath their feet fractured. Aeryn stared at him. "You shouldn't be able to do that." "I shouldn't be able to do a lot of things," Rav said, flexing his hand. "Let's keep going." They sprinted across the broken plateau as ships rained down light. Aeryn deflected energy bolts with magnetic fields curled around her arms. Rav pulsed raw waves of force, knocking drones from the sky. "We need a beacon," he shouted. "Some way to call for help." "There is no help," she said. "No one else is left." He turned to her. "Then we send a signal anyway?" They reached the collapsed COMM tower. Rav placed his hand on the ruined panel, and it responded, not with sparks, but with life. "Broadcasting on all open bands," he said. "Wideband, quantum pulse, even void code." "Void code?" Aeryn asked, stunned. "I don't even know how I know that." Her voice dropped. "You're becoming one of us." "Not just one of you," he corrected. "Something new." A moment later, the sky cracked. A line tore through the clouds. And from it, emerged two ships, ancient and alive, shaped like arrowheads made of light and bone. Aeryn gasped. "The others," they answered. The Sovereign Collector's flagship pivoted toward the breach. An energy cannon began to charge. "We have 10 seconds, Rav said. "Then stay close," Aeryn replied. She pulled him to her, and kissed him again. This time, it wasn't bonding. It was farewell or forever. The Wraith ships fired. The Sovereign flagship erupted in flames. Pieces fell like rain. And in the center of it all, stood the bond between a man and a woman born of light. The smoke cleared slowly. Ash drifted through the canyon air like snowfall made of memory. The Collector's flagship, once a fortress of greed and obsession, now lay in molten pieces across the desert floor. And still, Rav stood. Glowing. Alive. Changed. Aeryn was beside him, her skin dimming now that the danger had passed, her form steadier. She looked human again, mostly, but only on the surface. Beneath her skin, stars still burned. They had done the impossible. They had survived together. The other wraiths emerged from their ships, beings of shimmering light, cloaked in elegant forms, half breath, half flame. They stared at Rav not with suspicion, but with awe. "He holds the current," one of them said, voice like a choir. "He carries the fusion seed. He is the first bridge." Aeryn turned to him. "They feel it too. The bond. The blending. You're not a host, Rav. You're the beginning of something new." He nodded, breath shallow. "Feels like the beginning, or the end." The silence in the observation deck was thick. Peaceful, even. Rav sat alone, hands clasped, watching the planet turn slowly beneath them. His reflection on the glass was no longer the same. His eyes glowed faintly gold. Lines of light traced under his skin like living veins of circuitry. Not painful. Not alien. Just different. Aeryn entered quietly, barefoot, her steps soundless. She stood behind him for a long time before placing her hand on his shoulder. You've stopped trembling. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. She smiled. It means the transformation has stabilized. You're becoming what you were meant to be. That's the part I'm still figuring out, he said. What is that? Aeryn stepped in front of him. Slowly. Deliberately. Something the dimensions haven't seen before, a singularity of emotion and form. A soul that holds both logic and longing. A vessel of the bond. Rav stared at her. You're saying I'm a myth now? You always were, she said. You just hadn't met me yet. They didn't kiss. They didn't need to. Their palms met. And the pulse between them hummed gently, a slow, quiet promise in a galaxy always screaming. Rav lay in the starlight, unable to sleep. He watched the energy around him, faint tendrils in the air. Not hallucinations. Not side effects. Life. He could see it now. Feel it. Aeryn joined him, curling into his side. And then, without words, she placed his hand gently on her stomach. He froze. Not because it was warm, but because it glowed. The fusion was deeper than any wraith has ever known, she said softly. You didn't just become something new. You created something new. You're pregnant. Aeryn nodded once. With a being of both of us. Matter and current. Flesh and energy. Heart and code. And what happens when they are born? The prophecy begins. 2 weeks later. At the edge of the whispering void. They docked at the final known rift, the void gate, where stars bled into dark geometry. A cosmic scar where energy laws bent and folded. Aeryn stood at the altar with Rav beside her, their hands interlocked, the crystal core in her palm glowing with unborn potential. The Wraith Council stood behind them. So did fragments of human command. Somehow, word had spread. All eyes were on them. What happens if we open the gate? Rav asked. We don't open it, Aeryn replied. We make it feel. You think feelings can heal a tear in reality? She turned to him. I think you've already proven they can. Together, they stepped forward. Together, they placed the crystal into the gate's core. And together, they opened a path not just between worlds, but between ways of being. The gate didn't explode. It bloomed. Not fire. Not light. Just warmth, a wave of consciousness that swept over the gathered, touching every mind. A message not in language, but in sensation. This is not destruction. This is connection. This is what happens when love stops hiding. The child stirred within her. The stars bent slightly. And the void pulsed. Not in threat. In recognition. Somewhere beyond the galaxies, on a drifting station built by no species in particular, Rav sits beside Aeryn, hand resting over the subtle glow of new life beneath her skin. He looks out at the stars and says, we started this because I touched something I shouldn't have. She laughs softly. And now? Now I'd burn every world just to touch you again. If this story touched something inside you, something glowing, something burning, then like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes love can rewrite the laws of the universe. This isn't the end. This is the first child of light and flesh. The first echo of love beyond stars.